You are about to receive the gift of love. But the question is, are you ready to accept it the way God wants? God wanted you to hear this message for two important reasons. First, perhaps someone is trying to get close to you right now. Second, He is warning you about a special person who is on the way. So, prepare your heart for this person that God is sending. We understand that new experiences can be frightening. You've probably gone through relationships that didn't work out, that hurt you or betrayed you, even though you loved deeply. These experiences leave scars, and it's natural that trying again seems like a bad idea, especially when your trust has been broken several times. It's understandable that you hesitate to create new expectations. However, this attitude might conflict with God's will for you. Romans 5 tells us that hope does not disappoint because God's love has been poured into our hearts through the Holy Spirit. This reminds us that despite difficulties, we must keep hope alive. Sometimes, we don't recognize the gifts God gives us. God is meticulous in details, always working behind the scenes for our good. However, often, we lack the patience or perception to notice this divine intervention. Instead of fully trusting God, we let our past experiences and fears cloud our judgment. This limited vision is fueled by a lack of hope and trust in the Lord. When someone doesn't want to commit to something, they find numerous reasons not to do it. Similarly, when someone's heart is devoid of hope, they find ways to distance themselves from the Lord's grace, missing opportunities and avoiding any chance to develop a connection with a potential partner. They are convinced they have given up on love and have closed their hearts. In some cases, they rigidly adhere to unrealistic worldly norms and automatically reject individuals without giving them a chance to prove themselves. Does this sound familiar? I don't want to force you into a romantic commitment with someone, but I ask you to consider the following. If you have the opportunity to meet a potential partner, there's a great chance that it is a relationship God is orchestrating for you. God is weaving this relationship for you and your future spouse. We've already discussed the signs to know if God has sent this person for you, but now let's explore a more specific aspect of this relationship and how to accept this person, even if the idea doesn't initially appeal to you. It's undeniable that everyone wants to find their soulmate, but there may be times when your soulmate is not what you expected. Or your desire to have a relationship may have diminished due to failed attempts. When you find yourself in these situations, you may not welcome your soulmate with open arms. In fact, you might even reject them. Let's explore the most common reasons for this resistance so that you can avoid them. The first possible reason is that you might resist the idea of falling in love again because you believe the person is not suitable for you. We think we know what we want, but the truth is we don't know what's best for us, especially regarding the people who come into our lives. The human heart is easily seduced by affection and glitz, so it cannot be a good judge of who should be our future spouse. Proverbs 16 tells us that man plans his ways, but the Lord directs his steps. This verse reminds us that no matter how much we try to plan our lives, it is God who has the final control. You may not want to admit it, but your heart has probably deceived you many times, especially when you're in love. The human heart is complex and easily influenced by emotions. When we are in love, we tend to justify the actions of the person we love, even when those actions are not the best for us. Our heart tries to convince our mind that these people are good for us, even when the signs indicate otherwise. Jeremiah 17 confirms that the heart is more deceitful than anything else and desperately sick. Who can understand it? This verse highlights the deceitful nature of the human heart. Have you ever justified the mistakes and warnings of the person you love? Love means seeing through rose-colored glasses, which prevents us from seeing the true colors of people. When we are blinded by love, we fail to recognize the warning signs that could protect us from disappointment and suffering. You know how domestic violence victims often have difficulty leaving despite the horrible situation? It's because some of them only see the love of their abusers. They defend the abusive behavior, saying that their abusers are kind and loving. This is one of the saddest and most extreme ways the heart can deceive. These victims only see the loving side of their abusers and justify unacceptable behaviors because they are emotionally involved. They believe the love they feel is enough to overcome any obstacle, even when their safety and well-being are at risk. The main point is that most of the time, we cannot trust ourselves to decide what is best for us because our hearts deceive us. Only God knows what you need, and He will guide you in that direction. Proverbs 14 tells us that there is a way that seems right to a man, but in the end, it leads to death. This verse warns us about over-relying on our own understanding. When we trust only our own perception, we risk deviating from the path that God has planned for us. This path that seems right can lead to the death of our dreams, hopes, and even our spirit. Whenever we rely solely on our own knowledge and judgment, we end up hurting and frustrating ourselves. In relationships, this truth becomes even more evident. We need to recognize our vulnerability and accept that we don't have all the answers. We often deceive ourselves, believing that we know what is best for us. At that moment, we must begin to trust the Lord. He will guide you to your true love, who may already be by your side, waiting for a chance to reveal themselves. Give this person the opportunity to show who they really are. Sometimes the right person may not seem like the obvious choice at first glance. They may have qualities that you initially consider intimidating or difficult. However, these qualities may be exactly what you need to grow and become stronger. Refusing to give someone a chance based on first impressions or prejudices can make you miss the opportunity for a meaningful relationship. Moreover, it's important to remember that God will connect you with someone who will bring out the best in you. This person will complement your life, someone who will help you flourish and reach your full potential. This relationship may present challenges, but these challenges test and strengthen character. Being ready to face this great challenge is crucial. It requires courage, faith, and a willingness to follow divine guidance, even when the path seems difficult or uncertain. Your soulmate will help test and strengthen your character, something that cannot be achieved by someone you find easy. It is through challenges and difficulties that we grow and become better people. Trust God's judgment in this. He knows exactly who the right person for you is, someone who will bring out the best in you and help develop your qualities and overcome your weaknesses. Another possible reason for rejecting someone might be related to your broken heart. A broken heart is one of the greatest obstacles to accepting someone again. Past wounds can be deep and difficult to heal, making you feel insecure and afraid of getting hurt again. You may be attached to someone else or still hurt by something from the past. These emotions can prevent you from seeing the new opportunities God is placing in your path. Philippians 3 reminds us to forget what is behind and focus on what is ahead. This verse encourages us to leave the past in the past and focus on the future that God has planned for us. The risk of getting hurt again is always present, but this should not stop you from seeking the love and happiness that God desires for you. God's vision for your future relationship is full of promises and blessings. He wants you to thrive and find true and lasting love. Jeremiah 29 reminds us that God has plans to prosper us and not to harm us, plans to give us hope and a future. These plans are based on His unconditional love and His desire to see us happy and fulfilled. To fully understand these grand plans, it is necessary to have the courage to take a leap of faith. This means trusting in God and believing that He is guiding our steps, even when the path seems difficult or uncertain. Therefore, it is crucial to open our hearts and minds to the love that God has prepared for us. We should not let fear and past wounds prevent us from experiencing true divine love. God is always working in our lives, guiding and protecting us, even when we don't realize it. It is up to us to trust in Him, in His plan, and in His will. When we trust in God, we allow Him to guide us on the right path, a path that leads to true happiness and personal growth. Remember that God is always with us, in both good and bad times. He desires our happiness and continuous growth. Even in difficulties, God is by our side, offering support and guidance. He knows our pains and has a plan to heal our hearts and guide us to a better future. We should not resist the love He sends us, but embrace it with open arms, trusting that He knows what is best for us. Often, we are tempted to trust only in our own understanding and desires, but this can lead us down uncertain paths. It is important to remember that our plans and perceptions are limited, while God's plan is perfect and comprehensive. Why is it so difficult to let go of our own ideas of how things should be? We cling to expectations, create an idealized image of how life and love should be, and forget that God has a greater plan, something beyond what we can imagine. It is natural to be afraid. After all, we have gone through so many disappointments and pains. But if we continue to hold on to these fears, how will we experience the new things that God has for us? Have you ever thought that the relationship that didn't work out may have been just to make room for something much better? Sometimes, it takes the courage to leave the past where it belongs, in the past, and focus on what God has reserved for the future. He knows every detail of our lives, knows exactly what we need, even when we have no idea what we want. Imagine if we could see what God sees, understand His plans from the beginning. Would we have so much difficulty trusting? Probably not. But since we can't, all we have left is faith. And faith is not a passive thing, it is active. It is a daily choice to believe that God is in control and that He knows what is best for us. And when God places someone in our path, even if that person does not perfectly fit our ideal, it may be exactly what we need. Sometimes, the greatest blessings come disguised, and we can only recognize them when we open our hearts and let go of our prejudices and fears. It's not easy, I know. We protect ourselves, build walls, because we don't want to get hurt again. But these same walls that protect us also isolate us from the love and opportunities that God is offering us. So the next time you feel that butterflies in your stomach, that doubt, remember that it is God calling you to trust. To take a step of faith. Because in the end, what He has for us is always the best, even if we can't see it immediately. Trusting in God more than in our own understanding is one of the greatest lessons we can learn. He has a greater purpose for each of us, and by opening our hearts to divine love, we put ourselves in a privileged position to receive all the blessings He has prepared. Opening up to divine love can be a challenge, requiring courage and the willingness to leave behind old fears and wounds. However, by doing so, we allow God's love to enter our lives in a truly transformative way. This love not only heals, but also strengthens and prepares us for a future full of promises. Living in harmony with the divine will mean seeking God's wisdom and guidance in all decisions and relationships. By doing so, we find a peace and fulfillment that the world simply cannot offer. God is the source of all wisdom, and by following His guidance, we discover the true purpose and meaning for our lives. Always be attentive and open to changes, for life is in constant motion, and God is always working for our good. Trust that the universe, under God's direction, is always by your side, taking care of you. This trust will give you the necessary courage to face any challenge and the wisdom to make the right decisions. Declare in the comments, I accept my gift because I am secure in my future. This simple affirmation demonstrates your trust in God and His plan for your life. By doing this, you are telling God that you are ready to accept His blessings and follow His path. Thank God for receiving this message and His blessings. Share your gratitude and positivity with others, inspiring them to do the same. Creating a chain of love and kindness can transform lives. May this message serve as a reminder to trust more in God, open your heart to divine love, and live in harmony with God's will. By doing so, you will find lasting peace and deep joy that can only come from a true relationship with the Creator. Trust in God, follow His guidance, and be ready to receive the wonderful blessings He has reserved for you. An important message awaits in the next video. I hope each word has touched your heart and that you have found inspiration and comfort in these messages of love and hope. Remember that you are not alone on this journey and that a higher power is caring for you every step of the way. Share this message with your loved ones, bring light to those in darkness, and be an agent of positive change. May God be with you.